Hey, this is Josh with Dirtbag Brands. Today we wanted to address one of our favorite products, our Mirror-01, which is designed for round roll bars. So predominantly the sport UTV segment. So anything 1.75 to 2 inch, one part number fits that. We're definitely unique in how we do things. We actually split what's called the load path. So in traditional mirrors, usually what you see is you'll see the mirrors coming out from the roll cage, which basically it's a lever arm, so it creates leverage on there. And a lot of brands out there that actually where you can add additional lighting to it or it's built in, it adds that extra weight. So really load path is the further away you are, the longer the lever arm, and the more likely, especially in off-road with vibration, you're going to droop. That's where mirror droop comes from. We designed ours where we split the load path and how it works for additional lighting. And this offers a ton of substantial benefits. So for one, most modern UTVs, the A pillars are narrower than the B and C pillars. So one of the biggest problems that companies have, and especially when you're driving, because the mirror acts as an information system, how do you actually see around the hips of the car? It doesn't matter if you've got the newest Pro R, it doesn't matter if you've got the Mav R, the Maverick X3, the Kawasaki Teryx H2, and even the Honda Talent, and even the new CF Moto Z10. But the A pillars are all narrower than the B and C pillars. So how do you solve that? And not only that, how do you solve the lighting problem? The farther the mirror or light sits from the cage, the more leverage it creates. More weight increases that torque. Speed then adds vibration, impacts, and changing dynamic loads. Dynamic load to cause your mirror to droop over time. When you factor in vibration and even stiction, stiction is static friction. When something's brand new and you tighten it all down, it's tight, it's good. But what happens when you introduce vibration, grit, micro polishing? Ball and socket was the old tried and true way to do mirrors, but you're constantly tightening your mirrors. We designed ours to solve a couple of problems. The first problem is, how do you see around the hips of the car? We've got the extended neck with the 360. No matter the angle of the cage, you are going to be able to adjust it so it's perfectly perpendicular to the car. That also helps you see around the hips of the car, especially when you're driving. Now, a lot of mirror companies advertise convex, super convex. Well, convex is great because it does widen your field of view. The problem with convex, though, is the wider the field of view, the more distorted things become. So when you're racing in the dunes, racing in the desert, racing through the woods, it makes it a lot more difficult to see. One of the other problems that happens is what we call the Beehive effect. So in a lot of mirror companies, they use what's called floating glass. Floating glass doesn't vibrate at the same frequency as the rest of the housing unit or the machine itself. We use what's called structural optic bonding. Structural optic bonding allows the mirror to vibrate at the exact same frequencies as the housing, as the machine itself. If any of you have ever used any of the price point mirrors on the market or anything like that, you've seen that vibration. That tells you exactly what the problem is that's happening. So we've done really, really well. We're blessed to have an amazing designer, engineer, and mechanic in our corner that has been in the V-twin market for years. So he knows all about vibration and harmonics. So I also want to give credit because last year, Tim from Sandblast Extreme, check his channel out. Tim did an amazing test and we didn't realize at the time just how much that demonstrated the load rating. So what he did was he had hung a set of a bag full of t-shirts to show how strong this is and the fact that this makes the whole machine move without any droop whatsoever. So no matter what size pod light you have, as long as it fits the bracket right here, which comes with all of our mirrors, you're going to get less chatter and you'll be able to widen your field of view, especially in conjunction with the headlights. So we do pride ourselves on the fact that you can fit all sorts of different styles of lights on here, from Baja design to triple R lights to Cavalier lighting, rough country, Amazon specials even out there. We've seen all sorts of different lights. So, but a lot of people, once again, want bigger is better. So this is what we have as far as without any sort of pod light whatsoever. So regardless of what lights you actually want to put on here, we've actually got the largest brackets to accommodate the most diverse assortment there. And the fact that It's actually 20% thicker than the competitor, even on the market, to accommodate that light chatter. So especially when you're off-road and you'll see the light vibrate like that, we try to eliminate everything. So there's a lot of engineering based in all of it. So that means even if you add 5-inch pod lights to it, which it easily accommodates, you're not going to have any sort of problem with it whatsoever. So a lot of people have asked us what kind of pod light you really can put on here, and we could demonstrate the pod light mounts like we have before, as you've seen already, but that would just be boring. So this is what we got. So why not test it with a full 12-pack of beer, right? So you can hold a 12-pack of beer. You can most definitely handle any of the pod lights on the market today without a problem, as you can see. So the weight hanging from the cage, that creates leverage. So leverage is what's going to weigh it down. That's what's going to do the chatter. So do we advocate that? Absolutely not. Was there any scientific demonstration behind that other than the weight of a 12-pack of beer? Absolutely not. But what we do know is most pod lights are 2.8 to 3 pounds or lighter. Obviously, a 12-pack weighs a whole hell of a lot more than that. So that's the 12-pack beer demonstration. Time for a cold one because I'm not driving. So hopefully this answers any of your questions. Leave your comments down below. Reach out, let us know. Thanks again.